The New Zealand First Leader appears to have dropped one of his pre-election pledges, this one to hold a referendum on abolishing the Maori seats, removing a potential obstacle to doing a deal with Labour. Jacinda Ardern, of course, has ruled out a referendum if Labour forms the next government and said it would not be on the table in any coalition talks, particularly after the party made a clean sweep of the 7 Maori seats. Here's our political reporter, Demelza Leslie.
Just hours after lashing out at media and what Winston Peters said would be his last press conference until after the special votes were counted, he gave an interview to Sky News, which was more enlightening. He said the demise of the Maori Party in the election has put a different spin on his comments prior to the campaign that the Maori electorates had failed to deliver what Maori really need and should be abolished. The New Zealand First Leader promised New Zealand First would hold a mid-term referendum on the seats if it was part of the new government.
The Maori Party itself, which was one of the driving things behind us saying it, the Maori Party itself, a race-based, origin of race party, got smashed in this election and is gone. And so some of the things that, or the elements to the environment in which the promise is made have changed. That's all I can say.
The day after the election, National leader Bill English refused to rule out the option of a referendum. However, Labour's Jacinda Ardern did rule it out. She has said it would be completely contradictory for Labour to earn the respect of those voters in the 7 Māori seats it won in the election and then work to undermine them. The Māori Party's co-leader, Marama Fox, whose party didn't make it back into Parliament, says Winston Peters' shift in position doesn't surprise her.
Because Winston knows if that had happened, that would have galvanised the Māori nation behind who? Oh, the Māori Party. Now, he said that he doesn't need to have a referendum because the Māori Party's not there, but the seats are still there. So either he doesn't believe that he has to worry about the Labour Party members who sit in those seats because he knows they're all whipped and he'll have to do what they're told, or he just knows that whatever moves he makes against those seats will actually be detrimental to his goal.
Ms Fox says Winston Peters lets his policies be determined by the audience he's standing in front of.
He tells them what they want to hear. And so I think that any moves to remove the treaty out of law, any moves to remove treaty references out of legislation, to revamp the RMA and get rid of the mana whakahonua rohi arrangement will galvanise Māori in this nation to move against him, and that will be a very shaky government.
During the interview, Mr Peters was critical of some aspects of National's policy approach, saying they'd gone down the path of Māori parallel government with a separate sort of social and statutory system. On the Labour Party, he said its view on tax seriously undermined them. Mr Peters was asked what one big thing he would be looking for from the party he chooses to work with.
I wanted to promise that they've got a grasp of economic reality. I think that we're in a very serious international state with respect to our international economy. I think the situation in China is very, very uncertain and unstable in terms of the debt, and I think that not so flash in Australia, our biggest trading partner. And one tremor could have a serious effect on New Zealand. I wished that in this campaign the two old parties had a grasp of what I think is the inevitable correction that's going to take place and how much pain that's going to bring.
It was also put to Mr Peters there was an assumption he would choose to go with National as the party that got the most votes and one that was closer to New Zealand First in policy direction. Mr Peters replied there was an unwritten convention. He would talk first to the party with the most votes.
But they're writing it as some sort of constitutional convention now and throwing the word morality behind it, saying, well, you've got to talk to them and you've got to finish your talks with them. That was not what they were told. That's not what it's been for 21 years. The 21 years it's been, in the first instance, you talk to a political party that had the most votes, but if things were not satisfactorily completed with them, there would be no constraint against you talking to someone else.
Winston Peters says he'll tell the public who he's going with in the next 2 weeks. In the meantime, today it was superannuation that was in Mr Peters' sights as he urged National to apologise to New Zealanders for robbing them of their nest egg by taxing the superannuation fund and halting contributions to it. From Parliament for Checkpoint, Demelza Leslie.